Good evening, committee.
Good evening, Crystal.
I believe we have one more member. There. We are at 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. And I do confirm that we have quorum present. Councillor Stone, I'd ask you to read the land acknowledgement statement at this time.
Thank you. I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. Under the terms of the Robertson-Huron Treaty, number 61 of 1850, and the Williams Treaties of 1923. We commit to acknowledge, learn, educate, create opportunity, honor sacred places, and take actions toward real truth and reconciliation in support of our commitment to walking the path together in respect, peace, and harmony for future generations.
Thank you. At this time, committee will now decide upon a chair and vice chair for the remainder of the 2018 to 2022 term of council. Do I have a member for chair? Councillor Stone?
I'd second that.
Thanks, guys.
And do I have a member for vice chair?
Oh, go ahead.
Councillor Schumacher? Moved by Councillor Stone and seconded by Councillor Armour. Be it resolved that the licensing committee hereby appoints the following individual as chair of the licensing committee, Councillor Stone. And further that the licensing committee hereby appoints the following individual as vice chair of the licensing committee, Councillor Schumacher. And further that these appointments are effective immediately. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, and I will now turn the chair over to Chair Stone for the remainder of the meeting. Thank you.
All right. I have a motion moved by Dion Schumacher, seconded by Dan Armour. Be it resolved that the licensing committee meeting agenda dated Monday, August 30th, 2021 be adopted as printed and circulated. All in favor? And that's carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting to consider appeal applications for short-term rental accommodations under the short-term rental accommodation bylaw. The input received by applicants and staff is important in order for the committee to make sound planning decisions. The procedure to be followed in this meeting will be as follows. A brief explanation of the application and any correspondence received to date will be given by staff. The applicant or the representative will be asked to provide any additional comments without repeating the information already outlined by staff. Please note that presentations are limited to 10 minutes. Once the presentations are concluded, the input received will be considered by the committee in closed session prior to making a decision on the appeal. The decision of the committee and brief reasons for the decision will then be presented and voted on in public. License appeal decisions of the committee are final and will be provided to the applicant and made public after the meeting. We'll now deal with the appeal for short-term rental application WF 000061N, 18 Halgren Lane, Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Stone. If I could speak to that briefly. So we did receive a letter of deferral for this application. I believe Mr. Johnson is on the line. So our process when we have received a deferral, but it's already gone out for public notice, is to get a description from the applicant on why they would like to proceed with the deferral. And from that point, I'll make comment, and then committee would have the rights to go into closed session to see if they would like to proceed with that deferral or not at this time. So through you, if we could request Norm to speak on this, that'd be great.
Norm is Mr. Johnson, is that right?
That is correct, yes.
All right.
Yes, hello, good evening, members of committee. I would just first like to apologize for having to make this deferral request. I would like to state that I was not fully aware of the nature of this licensing appeal process until earlier today after consulting directly with the town. As a result of ensuring that I am properly prepared and represented in this matter, I am respectfully requesting if the application for my appeal process could be deferred until the subsequent meeting held by this committee.
All right, thank you for that. So I am going to now move us into closed session so that we can discuss whether in fact we wish to defer or not.
Chris, want to comment first before we do that?
Chris?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Just to let you know, and if we could, through you, Chair Stone, the next committee may be outside of the 30-day appeal period, or sorry, 30-day requirement that the committee does need to have a hearing. So at this time, you know, it may be, if I could suggest that committee verify with Mr. Johnson that that would not be an issue if it's out that 30-day time frame, and that you know, it could follow into a regular scheduled committee meeting itself. So, but committee would have, so yourself would have to present that to Mr. Stone, and he would have to, or sorry, Mr. Johnson, and he would have to acknowledge that. So
what exactly are you suggesting here?
yeah, sorry. So history on it. So a applicant has 14 days to apply to the town to get a licensing hearing. Once the town has received that notification, we are required by the bylaw to create a hearing within 30 days of receiving that. If this is held off until our next meeting, it would be outside of that 30 days. So we just need acknowledgement from Mr. Johnson that he doesn't have any issue with that.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, thanks for that clarification, Chris. And yeah, Councillor Stone, I don't have any issue with the delay since it comes at my request.
Much. I'm still going to suggest that we move into closed session at this point, and then we'll come back. So committee members, you'll need to, we'll leave this meeting and go into the number 1 closed session. Is that correct, Crystal?
Councillor Sean, there is a motion to go into closed should committee choose to do so.
All right, I found it. Moved by Councillor Armour, seconded by Councillor Schumacher. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting be closed to the public, commencing now at 6:09 p.m. for the purpose of considering the following matter pertaining to the following section under the Municipal Act 2001, section 239, bracket 2, a matter in respect of which the committee may hold a closed meeting under another act, the short-term rental appeal application WF 000061N 18 Helgren Lane. All in favor? All right, off we go to closed session. All right, so we're just waiting for Crystal to bring a motion up. Here she comes. Moved by Dan Armour, seconded by Dion Schumacher. Be it resolved that committee postpone the licensing committee appeal for the short-term rental accommodation application WF00. That's not the right number. I believe it is WF-00061N. Yeah. For 18 Halgren Lane to a date determined by committee. So with that, all in favor? And that's carried. And I will just note for Mr. Johnson's benefit that we are going to try and do it early next week. And you will be notified tomorrow what that date is. All right. And with that, we're going to move on to the next one. Now deal with the short-term rental application WF000158N 454 Markles Road, Bigelow. Chris?
Thank you, Chair Stone. So to you, staff did deny this application on the grounds that it was for a second dwelling on a property, which is not permitted under our short-term rental bylaw. And further, there was general committee support of this decision through GC 127-21 to not permit more than one short-term rental accommodation per lot. There is additional minor items that do need to be completed with the application itself. However, based on those two aspects, we felt it reasonable to deny it at this time.
All right. Thanks for that. Garth and Rebecca, you're here, and you got 10 minutes to tell us all, for those who don't already know, tell us all about it.
Hi, council members. Thank you so much for taking your time and listening to our appeal. And I don't want to repeat too much of what we've already said in the past. I know most of you are very familiar with our project, but we did build this little Ox box a couple years ago with the intention of just using it for ourselves. And then with our hope of expanding, building a long-term rental in Huntsville and hopefully moving up there at some point, we saw it as an opportunity as well to make a little business out of it. And so that's kind of where the Ox box came about. And it's been more successful than we could have imagined. It's just this little Ox box in the middle of the woods. And it's very remote, so it's appealing it's only meant for two people, so it's usually one or two people that are going up there and they just want to unplug and be immersed in nature, and it's exactly what it allows for. So we have had, prior to being shut down in February, we had about 170 groups through without any issues. We are super hosts. We own 3 Airbnbs, one in Charlottetown and then the 2 in Huntsville. And we are super hosts for each one of them. We call every single guest that we have at the Ox box. We're very mindful that there is neighbors around. We don't want to disturb the peace of our neighbors and, you know, the little piece of paradise that we all enjoy up there. But it's really not hard for it to not be a hindrance to anyone because it's so secluded. You'll see attached with the file, there's, I believe, 6 letters of support. Those are all neighbors that are directly beside, they're the 6 closest neighbors to our property. And the letters that they've provided just are a testament to, the type of guests that we have, and as well how we deal with our property as a host. So we understand the apprehension as to having 2 Airbnbs on one property. But if you are able to see the aerial view of the property, you will understand that you can't see one from the other. So when we were up and running, we would often be at the cottage property ourselves and have guests at the Ox Box, and you'd have no idea that one was there. So they're not interfering with each other, and the guests at the Ox Box don't have any access to the waterfront or the dock or any of that. So if they want to get on the water, they're going to use the public access that is provided by the city. So it's also not interfering with our neighbors around. So it's not adding more, noise or chaos or anything in that manner. So we hope that is a bit of a comfort to you as well.
Maybe I'll just touch
yeah,
on something here. There was something mentioned in the application about not providing a 60-minute emergency person or something like that. We didn't really see where that was, but we do have a guy by the name of Louis. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Louis Tews.
He lives on Marcos Road.
He lives on Marcos Road, and
Yeah.
he does all of our service work. He checks the bunkie. He does walk around, make sure everything's perfect, make sure there's no garbage or anything. So he's definitely our contact for any service. He's there on a weekly basis at the cottage. But just wanted to mention too that, when we got denied, we shut everything down. And then we started going through public process, and that all seemed to turn out good. I feel like we've done everything we can in our power to, do what everybody had mentioned we should do. There was no appeals to the application to LPAT. And yeah, this has been a big thing for us in terms of once we got this rolling and we realized what we could do with this, we decided that we could fund a piece of property in Huntsville, and that's where we, I guess maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but when the brakes got put on this, we put the brakes on this fourplex, and since February, we were supposed to start construction in June, but we've kind of put that off to find out what's going on here, because that's been a way for us to be able to make all this work. And we're hoping that we have your support and we can get this long-term rental fourplex going too. I think that's everything. Yeah. Any questions?
Great. Well,
Sorry,
we'll ask committee. Any questions? That's all right. Don't worry about it. You got it all out. Committee members, any comments or questions?
And not at this time, thanks, Chair Stone.
I just had one. So I believe, if I recall a long time ago, there was one letter from a neighbor that didn't want this to go forward. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. And she was, I think she sent something in, and she was on the call there. Unfortunately, I won't say too much about her other than I think she made a comment on something about, she hears horns blaring and loud music and all this stuff. But I just want to assure you that the Ox Box is for 2 people, and we've never had any of our neighbors. And out of all the people that are around us, she is the furthest away in distance from the Ox Box. It just seems that she doesn't like anything going on around anywhere. And so she's the furthest one away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good.
that's good. Dion? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Schumacher.
Thank you, through you, Chair Stone. I don't remember whether we got pictures the last time around. How far apart are the 2 dwellings?
Yeah, so the cottage is down on the water, and then this is at the very back of the property. You can't see it from anywhere around. It's quite elevated. And I want to say it's like 500 or 600 feet away from the cottage at the back of the property. Yeah.
All right, Councillor Armour?
Yeah, Chair Stone, through you, is there a private entrance to this, or do they use the same drive and then it's?
Yeah, so the drive kind of goes down because the where you enter the property is at the very back, like as far away from the water, and that's where the ox box is. You take a trail, you walk up into the trees. You can't drive up there, but you just park down at the bottom, which is all our property. There's big open space there, and then you walk up into about a 1-minute walk up into the bush, and then. So when you go to our place, you go past the ox box, and then that's kind of at the top of the property. Then you go all the way to the cottage.
But yeah, look, private entrance for both.
Yeah, very private. And I just wanted to mention too that we use both of these, the ox box and the cottage, as much as we possibly can. We love Huntsville, and that's where we want to hopefully be someday. And yeah.
Could you explain any sewer and water that is used up there?
Yeah, so there's no kitchen. It's very much like glamping. It's basically a room. We do have a composting toilet, which I think there's a couple things there that Chris has mentioned that we would need to change with that, and which we're happy to do whatever we have to. But yeah, there's no, there's no real like facilities for. We do have a little bit of a makeshift, so to speak, outdoor shower from the rainwater that just kind of comes from the roof, but it's not much of and that can only be used in the summertime, but it's very much glamping in a box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. If there's any more questions by committee? All right, then I have a motion to move into closed session. So moved by Dan Armour, seconded by Dion Schumacher. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting be closed to the public commencing at 6:35 p.m. for the purpose of considering the following matter pertaining to the following section under the Municipal Act 2001, Section 239-2, a matter in respect of which committee may hold a closed meeting under another act, the short-term rental appeal, application WF 000158N 454 Markles Road. All in favor? And that's carried. All right, Garth and Rebecca, we will be right back.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're back. Can I have Crystal put the motion up? Thank you. I'll just read it from here. Moved by Dan Armour, seconded by Dion Schumacher. Be it resolved that committee approve the short-term rental accommodation license for 454 Markles Road, Bigelow, with the following conditions. Short-term rental accommodation license, application 2020-113, principal building, be altered to include this structure to ensure non-compliance would restrict the use of both structures under this program. The required municipal accommodation tax has been reported and submitted as required through bylaw 2019-123. MRA agreement as required for future MAT tax submissions. The owner shall obtain a change of use permit through the building department. The wildland fire assessment be submitted to the planning department. The short-term rental accommodation be finalized to the satisfaction of the town, and all of the above to be completed prior to license 2020-113 being revised and issued. Committee members, all in favor? And that is carried.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Garth and Rebecca.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have no idea what that means. Thank you so much. We
Well,
won't disappoint you.
We want to-
awesome. You're good stewards.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks. All right. I don't believe we have new business. So moved by Dan Armour, seconded by Dion Schumacher. Be it resolved that we do now adjourn at 7 o'clock on the nose. All in favor? Shazam.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see you again.